Alrighty, so somehow or another, we were able to move some stuff around and put both the Prius and the Z3 in the garage, which, personally, I like it. What's up, guys? Hope you're having a great day today. So, in my comments, I've received a lot of them that say, oh, I'm looking for a Z3, or I'm shopping around for a Z3. So I figured I would dedicate a video to those guys who are looking for a Z3. So I figured I would talk about the things that surprised me as a Z3 owner that I did not expect. So let's get started. Alright, this is the one thing I gotta be nervous about, which is not hitting the Z3 into the Prius. We're good. Okay, so I'll be honest, I have not gone to the gym in a hot minute, and so to make up for that, I will be doing the old technique of getting my roof up. Oh my god. I always forget, this thing weighs a ton just to get the roof up. I gotta put the roof up because it's raining outside, and it's like the slightest amount of rain. Like, it's the lightest amount, but any form of rain, when you're driving in a convertible, you gotta put the roof up. So to start off, I would definitely say that one of the big things that surprised me about this car is that it's so much different than basically any other BMW on the road. Like, I'm comparing it to the BMWs that I've been in before I got this car, which is the F30 340i and the F82 M4. And both of those cars, yeah, they're the same year, generation, things like that, but they're still so different from each other. And they're very different from the Z3. Those two cars are much more focused on performance, and it feels like BMW in general wants to focus on performance. They have cars like the M4, they have cars like, well, I guess the M5, both of which are much more focused on going fast rather than having a fun experience. M4 kind of hit or miss on that one because obviously for the money you can get a quicker car, but my point still stands on that because it's still a fast car, 0 to 60 in the low 4 seconds. But what I'm trying to say though is that this car is not fast by any stretch of the imagination. Like, not even a little bit. You can take sharp turns with it like I just did, and you can still like throw it around corners much more than the M4 or the 340i. And let me take a minute to not hit a car while merging onto the highway. To summarize, this car being different from any other BMW on the road comes from the fact that you can throw this car around a lot more than something like an M4 or a 340i or even a 2 Series in that matter. If you don't agree with that whatsoever and you don't like the opinion that I just said, leave your thoughts in the comments below. So the second thing that surprised me about this car, and well, I guess it just applies to convertibles in general because this is the first convertible I've sat in and this is the first convertible I've driven ever. And it's just that it's fun with the roof off. Obviously I can't talk about it much now, but the car, it's amazing to have the roof off in. In my car, it has an aftermarket exhaust, so when the roof is up, it does tend to be a bit drony on the inside. Along with that, when it rains, sometimes the roof likes to leak. If you can't tell, there's water coming into the interior of my car, which, yeah. I don't know if that's a convertible thing, I don't know if that's a BMW Z3 thing, I don't know if it works for every car like that. So, I mean, I don't know. But with the roof off, it's just a whole nother feeling to have while you're driving. If you've never been in a convertible, drop whatever you're doing right now and go rent one, like ASAP. It is so much fun, and if you have long hair like me, it just makes your hair go flying, and it's so cool. I love it. 'Cause even if it's like swinging into your face, which be careful of that, it's still just so great when the wind is just on your face and you just feel everything and you just hear everything a lot more, and it's such an open feeling. I can't recommend it any more than I am already, because despite the limitations, it truly is a one-of-a-kind feeling that you are not going to find in any fixed roof car, in my personal opinion. So the next thing that surprised me is not really a Z3 thing, but it's more just a two-seater thing. And it's just that how annoying it can be to own a two-seater sometimes. Like, if I'm making plans with friends or family, we can never take this car because of the fact that it's a two-seater, it can only hold 2 people, and there's a lot more people that I hang out with than just one other person. I come from a large family, and so sometimes we gotta haul a lot of people in one car. So this car is rarely ever the contender to take people around, which is a good and a bad thing. If you want to experience a car with somebody and just one person, that's where it's good. Okay. But if you want to have multiple people just in the ride to talk to or something like that, then that's kind of where the downside of this car comes in. And well, I guess any two-seater in general. So the next thing that surprised me about this car is just how cheap the inside is. Like, I never realized how cheap a Z3 inside is when I was test driving the cars, and I didn't even realize just how cheap BMW insides are until after I got this car. Like, there is so much cheap plastic in here. Some of it's already been chipped, some of it's been pulled off. It's insane how a car company that's known for luxury, quote unquote, is able to get away with it. But I think one thing that allows them to get away with it, though, is just the fun of the car. This car, I feel like, is designed for more for people who care about how the car drives rather than how it feels on the inside, you know? Another thing that surprised me, though, and I didn't even realize it until I was driving this car, is if you're driving behind a lot bigger cars, and I think this just goes for all small cars in general, there is a lot of water that gets thrown on you if you're driving behind like a bigger car. Like right now, I'm behind a lifted F-150, and he is splashing water right onto the windshield. And I don't know why I didn't think of it sooner, because there was one time I was driving, and I live in the South, by the way, so a lot of guys here have lifted trucks and they like to roll coal. So this one guy, I was behind him at a light, and he decides, you know what, I'm going to roll coal on this tiny convertible right behind me and completely not allow him to see at all. Well, obviously that wasn't what he was thinking. I don't know what he was thinking, but that's what I want to believe he was thinking, because lo and behold, he rolled coal and I could not see a thing, like, whatsoever. Okay, so I'm pulled over right now because the camera decided to go low on battery, and it also decided to overheat at the same time. So thanks, GoPro. So I'm parked here right now in front of some plaza restaurant thingy, and this is a normal parking spot. That's where that 5 Series is parked, just a normal looking parking spot. Same with this one. However, this one, which is where the Z3 is parked, it's a bit smaller, and that's because this is a compact spot. So yes, the Z3 can fit in a compact spot quite easily, which makes parking a little bit easier on me. When you're driving a smaller car, you tend to be in blind spots a little bit easier, and it can be quite scary when you see a guy in a lifted F-150 or a Chevy Tahoe, like the one that just drove behind me, merge into your lane while you're there. I cannot tell you how many, well, it's happened a few times, and it's a little bit terrifying every time it does happen. But for the most part, drivers are relatively sane, and they will notice you in this car, especially if you don't lower it or anything like that. If you keep it on stock height, it does tend to have a very similar ride height to something like, say, a Honda Accord, Toyota Camry, something like that. It's not going to be exact, but it's quite there. But now, let's talk about the last thing. So the final point that surprised me about the Z3 is just how practical this thing is. Like, I know it's not as practical as, say, like, you know, a big SUV or a truck, but it does the job. Like, I mean, I've taken groceries in this car, and I've also moved out with this car. I've also done airport pickups in this car. It does a lot for what it is, especially compared to other cars in its sector. When I was shopping for this car, as I've mentioned before, I was also looking at Porsche Boxsters and Miatas. And the trunk on those cars are incredibly tiny. Now, to give the Boxster some credit, it does have a front trunk and a rear trunk. But the Miata's trunk is incredibly small. Like, I've filmed with Shawn and Noah before, who, if you don't know who they are, link in the description. I'll link some videos that I did with them. But their cars, they can barely fit a few things in it. Like, I've seen a backpack take up a good chunk of their trunks. Versus my car, I mean, I could probably fit 2 or 3 of my backpacks in the trunk alone, and then I could probably fit, I want to say, 6 of my backpacks in the front seat, or well, in the passenger seat. I mean, 9 backpacks, and keep in mind, I'm talking about like Swiss gear backpacks, like the Swiss Army backpacks, the giant ones that can fit basically a skyscraper in them. Those type of backpacks. Not a tiny, like, I don't know, tiny designer one that like Paris Hilton would wear. Yeah, not dissing Paris Hilton, though if she is watching this, hey Paris, I don't know anything about you. I think you had an SLR, nice SLR. Oh my goodness, I just had the scariest 2 seconds of my life. As I was making that turn and that little acceleration, I looked over, there was a cop there. And so I just immediately got off the throttle. Oh, that could have ended badly. I might have had to rename this title from Here's What Surprised Me About My Z3 or whatever I named it to I Got Pulled Over for Being an Idiot. But thankfully that didn't happen, so yeah! This acceleration, this is for that cop. And just like that, today's video is over. Let me know how you guys feel, by the way, about me doing the new video angle where I use this thing right here, put my camera right there, and just talk that way rather than just doing a POV thing. If you liked it, let me know in the comments below. If you didn't, let me know that in the comments below. But just like that, today's video is over. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't like the video, leave a dislike. Let me know how you feel about it in the comments below. And if you like what you're seeing, leave a subscribe. And just like that, I am out. I'm going to go inside and relax and enjoy the rest of my holiday weekend because I'm filming this on Memorial Day. Peace.